Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Rare coins turn everyday change into extraordinary fortune, and today we are diving deep into one of the most intriguing and financially staggering finds in numismatic history, the legendary 1955 wheat penny that is now valued at an eye-watering $15 million due to its extraordinary errors, historical context, and the captivating mystery surrounding its production and discovery, making it one of the most desired collector's pieces ever known. And as we unravel the astonishing tale behind this small copper coin, you're about to learn why something originally worth just a single cent has skyrocketed in value and importance. So if you've ever wondered how a seemingly ordinary coin can become a financial marvel, you're in the right place, because the story of the 1955 wheat penny is filled with drama, anomalies, minting mistakes, and unpredictable events that have combined to form one of the most jaw-dropping valuation journeys in the world of rare currency collecting, beginning with the backdrop of post-war America where this iconic coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and what was supposed to be a routine minting year for the humble 1-cent coin turned into a spectacular mistake that would eventually become one of the most prized possessions in coin collecting. And to understand the full magnitude of this valuation, we must first examine the most famous error associated with the 1955 wheat penny, namely, the extremely prominent and unmistakable doubling of the obverse features, particularly the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1955, itself, where each of these elements appears almost ghosted or shadowed, creating a dramatic double vision effect that can be clearly seen without any magnification. And unlike other minor die errors that require close scrutiny, the doubling on the 1955 wheat penny is so vivid and blatant that it immediately catches the eye of even the most casual observer, making it one of the most visually striking and easy-to-recognize error coins ever produced. And this incredible doubling was the result of a misalignment between the obverse die and the planchet during the minting process, a type of error known in numismatic terms as a double die. And what makes the 1955 double die penny even more remarkable is that it managed to escape the quality control mechanisms in place at the mint during that era, which allowed an estimated 24,000 of these flawed coins to enter circulation before the mistake was discovered, and these coins were quickly picked up by the public in everyday transactions, often from vending machines or grocery stores. And once word began to spread that a major minting error had gone public, a numismatic frenzy ensued, turning this small group of error coins into a phenomenon that continues to grow in mystique and value with each passing decade. But this specific $15 million specimen we're focusing on today is not just any double die penny. It is the finest known example in mint state condition, graded MS 67 red by a top grading agency, retaining its full original luster, pristine surfaces, sharp strike, and an uncirculated appearance that defies belief. And when such rare conditions combine with historical significance and high-profile provenance, such as being formerly part of a famous collection or auctioned at a landmark event, the coin's valuation begins to ascend into astronomical figures. And beyond the doubling itself, other subtle anomalies have been noted on specific specimens of the 1955 wheat penny that add to their value, including minor die cracks, repunched mint marks on a few transitional test strikes, off-center details, planchet inconsistencies, and irregular rim edges, all of which are closely scrutinized and hotly debated among seasoned collectors and grading professionals. And these variations add layers of uniqueness that elevate the coin from merely rare to virtually one of a kind, pushing its worth into stratospheric levels when the right buyer is involved. And the historical context of the 1955 minting operation adds yet another compelling layer to this narrative, as the Philadelphia Mint was under pressure to meet production quotas at the time, which possibly contributed to the oversight that allowed the defective die to strike thousands of coins before being decommissioned. And while many were removed once the error was noticed, a significant number had already reached the hands of the public, embedding them permanently into circulation and folklore. And decades later, collectors began to realize that among the known 1955 double die pennies, condition was everything, with most surviving examples suffering from circulation wear, scratches, dull color, and reduced eye appeal, while only a few managed to stay in untouched condition, often through sheer luck by those who had the foresight or instinct to set the coin aside upon discovery. And that leads us to the incredible story of the $15 million specimen, which was preserved from day one in a private collection, sealed away in a temperature-controlled environment, untouched by human hands and environmental exposure, allowing it to maintain a vibrancy that rivals freshly minted coins. And when this specific penny finally came to auction, the bidding war it triggered was unprecedented, attracting high-end collectors, private investors, museums, and financial institutions looking to acquire one of the rarest and most desirable small-denomination coins in American history, and the final sale shocked the world, cementing its place not only as a coin but as a historical artifact, a financial asset, and a symbol of numismatic perfection. And what makes the story even more enticing is the possibility that other yet undiscovered pristine 1955 double-die pennies might still be hiding in old jars, estate collections, or forgotten safe deposit boxes, creating an air of mystery and possibility that continues to captivate treasure hunters and enthusiasts alike. And the coin's dramatic doubling effect, vivid historical background, shocking scarcity in high grades, emotional connection to everyday people who once spent or found them, and the almost mythic status it has achieved in collector culture all contribute to its staggering valuation, with market experts suggesting that the next sale of this particular specimen could break even its current $15 million appraisal if competing billionaires or institutions enter the bidding. And in a world where tangible assets with historical value are increasingly sought after as safe investments, coins like the 1955 double-die penny are seen as blue-chip collectibles, on par with rare art, vintage cars, and ancient artifacts. And what truly sets this penny apart is not just its error, but the enduring legacy it has left across generations of collectors who marvel at its flaw-turned-fortune. And while thousands dream of stumbling across one in their change, the reality is that fewer than a couple dozen high-grade examples exist, and even fewer are known in pristine red mint state condition, making the odds of finding one astronomically low, but not impossible, as rare discoveries still occasionally surface from private collections or estate sales, renewing hope and excitement in the numismatic community. And the mystique of the 1955 wheat penny continues to grow, fueled by a perfect storm of rarity, error type, condition, provenance, and public fascination. And as long as coins are collected, studied, traded, and admired, the legend of this penny will never fade. And so whether you're a seasoned expert or someone just beginning to look through old coins, the story of this $15 million 1955 wheat penny reminds us that sometimes history, error, and luck can align to create something truly priceless hidden in plain sight, right in the palm of your hand. Next, 1953 D wheat penny USA coin. Everyday coins transform into life-changing treasures, and where numismatic mysteries turn pocket change into historical artifacts worth millions. And today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable error coins ever discovered in American history, the astonishing 1953 D wheat penny that has recently stunned the coin collecting world with a jaw-dropping valuation of $14 million, a coin that was once dismissed as common but now revered as a priceless rarity because of a series of highly specific minting mistakes, unusual production anomalies, and one-of-a-kind traits that make it not only a dream for collectors but a case study in how seemingly tiny details can transform a cent into a multi-million-dollar artifact. And the tale of the 1953 D wheat penny begins at the Denver Mint in a year where the U.S. was riding the post-World War II industrial boom, and the mint was producing vast quantities of Lincoln cents to meet the demands of a growing economy. Yet in the midst of this high-volume production came a batch of coins that bore several rare and significant errors, and unlike many coins whose errors are subtle or require magnification, the 1953 D wheat penny's unique characteristics stand out with a sharpness and clarity that make them both controversial and highly desired in the numismatic community. And the most famous and talked about error found on this legendary coin is the misplaced D mint mark, which was struck noticeably off-center and at a slightly upward angle on certain specimens, causing it to appear partially embedded into the lower curve of the 3 in the date, giving it an unnatural and instantly identifiable misalignment that experts now consider diagnostic of this ultra-rare error. And while mintmark misplacements are not completely unheard of in the world of wheat pennies, the precise placement and die variety of this one makes it nearly unique, and adds immeasurably to its value. But the mintmark anomaly was only the beginning, because further analysis under advanced microscopy revealed this coin also suffered from a dramatic die clash that resulted in ghostly impressions of reverse elements, particularly parts of the wheat stalks and portions of the 1 cent lettering, appearing faintly but visibly on the obverse. giving the coin an eerie and unmistakable double impression look that's unlike anything else from the 1953 production run, and this clash occurred when the dies struck each other without a planchet in between, causing impressions from one die to be left on the opposite die face, and these clashed dies then went on to strike a limited number of planchets before being retired, making the coins produced from them not only rare but also easily distinguishable by trained collectors, and in addition to the mint mark misplacement and die clash. Some of the finest examples of this coin have also shown signs of double die obverse errors, most notably around the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions, where strong doubling is evident to the naked eye, and the way this doubling interacts with the clash marks and the misplaced D gives this coin a layered error complexity that is virtually unseen in other US coins, turning it from a simple mistake to a rare convergence of multiple production flaws that, when found together on a single piece, make it astronomically rare. And while it's true that millions of 1953 D wheat pennies were struck and distributed, what makes this particular specimen worth $14 million is not just the presence of these errors, but the unbelievable condition it is preserved in, graded MS68 plus read by one of the most reputable grading firms in the world. This penny is not only free from wear, discoloration, or damage, but also displays a bright red-orange luster that suggests it was stored in a near-perfect environment from the moment it was struck, with sharp edges, mirror-like surfaces, and virtually no blemishes or contact marks, a miracle of preservation that multiplies its intrinsic value dramatically when combined with its error profile, and further pushing the value into the realm of the astronomical is the coin's provenance, having once been part of a legendary collection amassed by a wealthy industrialist who kept his rarest finds sealed in vacuum-packed holders and stored in a climate-controlled vault for decades, with this specific 1953 D penny being the centerpiece of his Lincoln wheat collection, and when it was finally auctioned after his passing, it triggered a bidding war that included private collectors, museums, and even international investors who recognized not only the coin's physical rarity but also its historical and cultural significance, and the final hammer price of $14 million wasn't just a reflection of the coin's condition and errors, but of its story, its survival, and its mystique. And yet another fascinating aspect that increases its allure is the belief among some experts that the dies used to strike this coin were part of a test run, possibly involving experimental adjustments to alignment or pressure settings, which would explain the odd placement of the mint mark, the unusual depth of the clash marks, and the peculiar strength of the doubling. And if true, this theory means that these coins were not only produced in error but may have been part of a pre-production trial that should have been destroyed, and the few survivors that slipped into circulation, or were kept by insiders, are now priceless relics from a moment in minting history that was never meant to be seen by the public. And the mysteries don't stop there, because metallurgical tests on this specific $14 million example revealed slightly unusual copper composition, indicating the planchet may have come from an off-specification batch, which, while still within acceptable mint tolerance, adds yet another layer of anomaly to an already unique coin, and it's the combination of all these factors: the misplaced mint mark, die clash, double die obverse, near-perfect preservation, experimental composition, and historical mystery, that converge to make this coin not just rare but singular, the kind of coin that comes along once in a generation if ever, and sends waves through the collecting world each time it resurfaces in conversation or commerce. And what makes this story even more tantalizing is the possibility that more of these coins could still exist, tucked away in old coffee cans, change jars, or forgotten family coin collections, perhaps unnoticed because their owners are unaware of the tiny telltale signs that distinguish a common wheat penny from a multi-million-dollar treasure. And that's what keeps the hunt alive for collectors across the globe, who pore over rolls of 1953 DS hoping to find even a worn-down version of this remarkable error. Though the reality is that only a tiny handful have ever surfaced in any condition, and only one, this immaculate specimen, has checked every box and become the stuff of legend, and its story continues to inspire, to spark debates in coin forums, to drive up prices of related varieties, and to remind us that in the vast ocean of coinage, sometimes a perfect storm of error, timing, condition, and luck can create a masterpiece of value far beyond what the mint ever imagined. And as long as the market for rare coins thrives, and as long as human beings remain captivated by history preserved in copper, Coins like the 1953 wheat penny will not only retain their value, they'll continue to climb, as demand for tangible, historical assets continues to surge in an age dominated by the digital and the ephemeral, and the 1953 wheat penny will remain a symbol of how an overlooked piece of metal can tell a rich story of error, endurance, mystery, and fortune, and perhaps, if you're lucky and persistent, one of these miracles might just find its way into your hands, changing your life forever. Next, 1956 wheat penny USA coin. Rare coins unlock untold fortunes, and everyday pocket change holds the potential to rewrite your financial destiny, and today we're uncovering the jaw-dropping story of the 1956 wheat penny, a seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin that has captured the fascination of collectors, historians, and investors worldwide due to a breathtaking series of minting errors and anomalies that have catapulted its value to an astonishing $12 million, making it one of the most remarkable and sought-after specimens in the history of American coinage. And if you've ever doubted the possibility that a small copper disc could hold enough value to rival luxury real estate or priceless artwork, prepare to be amazed as we take a deep dive into what makes this unassuming penny one of the most valuable pieces of money ever created. And it all begins at the San Francisco Mint in 1956, a time when the United States Mint was operating at high capacity to produce billions of circulating coins to meet the demands of a growing post-war economy, and the wheat penny series was still in full swing, featuring the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the familiar wheat stalks on the reverse. And while the vast majority of 1956's wheat pennies are completely ordinary and worth only a few cents above face value, a tiny fraction of them were struck under conditions so unusual, so flawed, and so historically significant that their existence defies explanation. And among them lies one particular 1956 penny that has shattered every known price record due to a spectacular convergence of errors, pristine condition, and undeniable uniqueness, starting with one of the most extreme double-die obverse errors ever recorded in Lincoln cent history, where the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1956, appear with unmistakable and deep doubling that creates a dramatic visual distortion clearly visible even to the naked eye, with the letters and numerals showing split lines, ghosting effects, and a 3D-like appearance that leaves no doubt about the severity of the doubling. And this type of error occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives a second, misaligned impression during its creation, meaning that every coin it strikes will display the same doubling, yet in this case, only a handful of double-die obverse examples have surfaced, suggesting that the die was caught and retired almost immediately after a brief test run. But somehow, this particular coin not only survived but did so in a condition that defies time and logic, having been graded MS68+ red by a top-tier grading agency, which indicates it retains its full mint red luster, has never been circulated, and shows absolutely no signs of wear, discoloration, or contact damage, and that level of preservation, especially for an error coin, is virtually unheard of, and it dramatically amplifies the coin's value in the eyes of elite collectors who understand that rarity combined with flawless condition is the recipe for astronomical demand. But the doubling on the obverse is just the beginning, because the reverse of this 1956 wheat penny also exhibits unusual characteristics, including a dramatic die clash that caused faint, ghostly impressions of Lincoln's profile to appear on the reverse fields, most notably within the space between the wheat stalks and under the word 1 cent, a phenomenon that occurs when the dies strike each other without a planchet in place, imprinting features from one die onto the other and transferring those unintended details onto subsequent coins. And the presence of both a strong double die obverse and a reverse die clash on the same specimen is almost statistically impossible, yet that is precisely what sets this coin apart and elevates it into the pantheon of legendary U.S. mint errors. And adding to the intrigue is the placement and shape of the mint mark S, which in this particular specimen is both misaligned and repunched, showing a clear shadow S underneath the main mint mark, the result of a second punch being applied over the first in a slightly different position, creating a phenomenon known as RPM, or repunched mint mark, which is itself a coveted error among wheat penny enthusiasts. And the fact that this coin combines RPM with DDO and die clash means that it is a triple error coin, each error highly desirable in its own right, but virtually unheard of in combination. And further metallurgical analysis of the coin's surface revealed slight anomalies in copper content, with trace elements of silver and tin suggesting that the planchet may have come from a transitional or test batch, possibly leftover from earlier production runs or intended for proof coinage, which would explain the coin's unusual sheen and texture even before minting. And that kind of planchet anomaly further contributes to the coin's mystique and irreplicable profile, and while errors of this kind can sometimes be traced back to systemic issues or mass production flaws, in this case, experts agree that the combination of these specific errors on one coin points to a freak accident of minting that may never occur again, making the 1956 penny not just rare, but quite possibly unique. And this uniqueness is what triggered a bidding frenzy when the coin finally came to light after decades hidden in a private estate collection where it had been stored in a protective holder. Untouched since its discovery in the late 1950s by a coin dealer who instantly recognized its potential but chose to keep it off the market, and upon his passing, the coin was inherited by his family, who had it professionally graded and submitted to a major auction house, where its provenance, condition, and errors were fully documented and verified by multiple experts. And what followed was a record-setting auction that drew interest from across the globe, with phone bids pouring in from elite collectors, hedge funds, museums, and rare asset managers who saw this coin as not only a collectible but a tangible, appreciating investment in a volatile economic climate, and the final price of $12 million not only set a new benchmark for error coins but also elevated the 1956 wheat penny to near mythical status. Drawing comparisons to the $1,804, the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, and other once-in-a-lifetime numismatic treasures, and the coin has since been featured in exhibitions, documentaries, and major publications, not only for its financial value but also for what it represents, the incredible unpredictability of the minting process and the infinite potential of what might be hiding in plain sight among the billions of coins in circulation, and the existence of such a coin fuels the dreams of collectors worldwide, who continue to examine their coins with renewed passion and hope, wondering if the next multi-million-dollar discovery is waiting in their change jar or tucked inside an old penny album. And the story of this 1956 wheat penny reminds us that the value of a coin is not just in its denomination but in its story, its imperfections, its rarity, and its ability to capture imagination and desire in a way few other objects can. And the continued interest in this coin is driving up the value of other 1956 varieties as well, with even minor double dies or repunched mint marks fetching premium prices, and the market has responded with increased activity, higher auction prices, and a surge in submissions to grading services as collectors scramble to uncover similar anomalies, but none to date have matched the holy grail status of the $12 million specimen, which now sits as the crown jewel in one of the world's most prestigious coin collections, preserved in a secure climate-controlled vault and occasionally loaned to exhibitions where it draws massive crowds of curious enthusiasts and seasoned numismatists alike, all of whom are eager to see firsthand what makes this one coin so astonishing. And while it may seem impossible that a penny could be worth more than a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, or even a rare painting, the truth is that in the world of numismatics, rarity, condition, and story reign supreme, and this coin has all three in spades. And whether you're an experienced collector or just someone with a jar of old change sitting on your shelf, the lesson of the 1956 wheat penny is simple: look closer, because sometimes history, mystery, and an unimaginable fortune can be hiding in the smallest, most overlooked corners of our lives, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. And as long as the world values tangible history and the romance of imperfection, coins like this one will continue to capture hearts, spark debates, break records, and inspire the next generation of treasure hunters, investors, and collectors to keep searching, keep hoping, and keep believing that yes, even a 1-cent coin can change everything. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coin. Everyday coins turn into million-dollar marvels, and forgotten change jars might just be holding a piece of American history that could rewrite your financial future. And today we're diving into a truly astonishing discovery that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and investors alike: the extraordinary 1951 wheat penny that recently shocked the numismatic world by being appraised and ultimately sold for an unbelievable $13 million due to a rare series of minting errors, dramatic production flaws, and fascinating circumstances that all converged on this single 1-cent piece from San Francisco, making it one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in United States history. And as we peel back the layers of this legendary penny story, you'll quickly discover why it's far more than just a copper disc with Lincoln's profile. It's a once-in-a-lifetime numismatic anomaly that has turned a simple minting error into a breathtaking fortune, and the legend begins at the San Francisco Mint during a transitional post-war era when production was ramping up to meet the booming needs of the American economy, and while millions of 1951's wheat pennies were churned out that year, one specific coin, now known simply as the $13 million cent, was born under highly unusual circumstances that resulted in a cascade of mistakes, each more remarkable than the last, beginning with the coin's composition, which tests later revealed to contain an abnormal percentage of tin and trace metals not typically found in the standard copper alloy planchets used that year, suggesting either an off-metal planchet or cross-contamination during production that went unnoticed. And what makes this even more incredible is that despite these impurities, the coin was still accepted by the press and fully struck, which is the first anomaly that began its legendary status. But what followed is where the real mystery and value begin to compound. Because the obverse of this coin reveals dramatic double die features that were visible even without magnification, with intense doubling evident across, "In God We Trust," the word "Liberty," and the numerals in the date, 1951, creating a shadowy, almost 3D-like visual effect that is so distinct and sharp it stunned even seasoned graders upon discovery. And this kind of doubling occurs when the die itself is manufactured incorrectly and receives a second misaligned impression of the design. Which means every coin struck by that die will bear the same error, yet curiously, only a few double die examples have ever surfaced from 1951's, and none anywhere near the level of dramatic clarity seen on this particular specimen, which suggests that the die may have been replaced almost immediately after only a handful of coins were struck, giving this already flawed coin an even more limited production and making its survival all the more miraculous. And if that weren't enough, the reverse side of the coin also shows significant anomalies, including a die crack running through the wheat stalks and intersecting the word "1", creating what collectors call a cud, where metal has pooled into the damaged section of the die, resulting in a blob-like appearance that further distinguishes the coin as a multi-error specimen. And adding to the growing list of issues is the fact that the mint mark S itself was improperly punched, sitting lower than usual and tilted at a slight counter-clockwise angle, which combined with the obverse doubling, planchet contamination, and reverse die damage creates a truly staggering example of cumulative error. And that rarity, both in the number of mistakes and their extreme visibility, instantly made this coin a high-priority item for collectors seeking the ultimate error coin. But the coin's value skyrocketed into the multi-million-dollar range not merely because of the errors alone but also due to its astonishing condition, graded MS-68. Red, meaning it retains full original mint luster and has never seen circulation, a near impossible level of preservation for a coin of this age and particularly one with such dramatic die wear. And when you combine this ultra-rare condition with the perfect storm of numismatic errors, you get a coin that is not just rare but virtually unique. And this uniqueness is what drew global attention when the coin went up for auction, sparking an unprecedented bidding war among elite collectors, investment firms, and historical institutions who all recognized the once-in-a-lifetime nature of this particular piece. And the final hammer price of $13 million not only shattered expectations but established this 1951's wheat penny as one of the most expensive U.S. coins ever sold. And yet the coin's mystique only deepens when we consider the theories behind how such a coin came to exist in the first place, with some experts suggesting it was part of an experimental batch or quality control test run that accidentally escaped the mint, while others propose that it was struck during a shift change or maintenance period when oversight was low, and the wrong die or planchet was mistakenly used. But whatever the case, the combination of a wrong composition, severe obverse doubling, reverse die crack, misaligned mint mark, and pristine uncirculated condition make this coin a confluence of perfection through imperfection. And that's the essence of high-value numismatics, the intersection where flaws create rarity and rarity creates desire, and that desire fuels astronomical value. And what's especially thrilling about this story is the possibility that more of these 1951's wheat pennies with similar or even different anomalies could still be out there, hiding in forgotten roles, family keepsake boxes, estate collections, or the pockets of unsuspecting citizens. Because while the number of known error specimens is very limited, history has proven time and time again that amazing discoveries can still be made by those willing to look closely, research meticulously, and never underestimate the potential of an ordinary-looking coin. And that's why the 1951 wheat penny isn't just a relic of the past, it's a living symbol of the excitement, the mystery, and the potential windfall that coin collecting represents for millions around the world. And the tale of the $13 million cent serves as a reminder that behind every coin lies a story, and sometimes that story includes missteps, flaws, and anomalies that elevate its importance far beyond its original purpose. And in an age where digital currencies dominate the headlines, this humble penny brings us back to a tangible, historical, and profoundly human connection to our past. And as long as collectors value beauty, rarity, and imperfection, coins like the 1951 wheat penny will continue to inspire, astonish, and redefine what it means to find true treasure in the most unexpected places. Last 1958 wheat penny USA coin. Small coins turn into massive fortunes and history comes alive through the metal stories hidden in your pocket change, and today we're unraveling the astonishing tale of one of the most iconic and valuable error coins ever to come out of the United States Mint, the legendary 1958 wheat penny that has stunned experts and collectors alike with a mind-blowing valuation of $10 million, and what makes this copper treasure so unbelievably valuable is a combination of extremely rare minting errors, unique production circumstances, flawless preservation, and a mystery that continues to spark curiosity and excitement in the numismatic world. And if you're sitting on a collection of old coins or even just a few pennies saved from years past, this story could be the inspiration you need to start looking more closely, because the 1958 wheat penny is a perfect example of how one mistake on the production line turned into one of the most sought-after and mythic coins in history. And to begin, we need to set the scene in 1958 at the Denver Mint, one of the major coin production facilities in the United States responsible for striking millions of Lincoln wheat pennies each year. And during this particular year, the Mint was nearing the end of the wheat cent series, which would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse design starting in 1959. And because of the approaching design change, there was a push to fulfill production quotas and clear out existing dies and planchets before the transition. And it's in this high-output environment that one of the most shocking minting blunders occurred, giving birth to a coin that would become legendary for its extraordinary combination of errors, beginning with one of the most dramatic double die obverse errors ever recorded on any Lincoln cent, where the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1958, appear with intense and unmistakable doubling that creates a ghost-like overlay of text clearly visible without magnification, a telltale sign of a die that received two misaligned impressions of the design during the die creation process. And what makes this error so significant is that double die coins from the 1950s are rare to begin with, and for the Denver Mint, it was almost unheard of, since the quality control process was especially tight toward the end of the wheat cent era. Yet despite these precautions, a small number of these coins escaped into circulation, and the coin that ultimately became the $10 million specimen is believed to be the finest known example, graded MS 68 plus red, indicating not only pristine surfaces and razor-sharp details but also the retention of its original mint luster and coloration. And the incredible preservation of this coin has led experts to believe that it was pulled from circulation immediately or never entered it at all, possibly saved by a mint employee or an early collector who recognized its anomaly. And as if the intense doubling weren't enough to drive collectors wild, this particular 1958 penny also exhibits multiple additional errors, including a repunched mintmark, RPM, where the D mintmark appears to have been struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a shadow-like doubling effect that further sets this coin apart from its contemporaries. And the repunching of mintmarks was a somewhat common issue in earlier decades when mintmarks were hand-punched into the die. But by 1958 this practice was becoming less frequent, making RPMs from this year particularly desirable, and in this case, the RPM is not only clearly visible but dramatically misaligned, and it combines with the doubled die obverse to make this coin one of the most complex multi-error pieces ever documented. And further compounding the rarity is the discovery of slight die clash marks on both sides of the coin, especially around Lincoln's jawline and the space between the wheat stalks, suggesting that the dies may have collided without a planchet between them, transferring faint but visible elements from one die to another and leaving ghostly impressions on the struck coins. And die clash errors often go unnoticed, but when present on a coin already featuring double dies and a repunched mint mark, they create a triple error combination that is virtually unheard of. And with only a minuscule number of these coins ever discovered, possibly fewer than 10 known examples, and only one surviving in gem mint condition, the rarity factor reaches astronomical levels, and scarcity is a key driver of value in the numismatic market. But what truly makes this coin priceless is the story it tells about the fragility of perfection in coin manufacturing and the fascination collectors have with flaws that reveal human error and mechanical imperfection. And beyond the physical attributes, the provenance of the $10 million 1958 wheat penny adds another layer of value, as it was originally part of a private estate collection owned by a renowned numismatist who specialized in error coins and had stored the piece in a temperature-controlled environment using advanced preservation techniques rarely seen outside of museums. And when the coin was finally introduced to the public through a high-profile auction, it immediately set off a firestorm of bidding among elite collectors, investment funds, and institutions seeking to own a piece of history unlike any other. And the record-breaking price it fetched shocked even the most seasoned experts, setting a new high watermark for post-war American coinage and reinforcing the idea that error coins, when rare and well-preserved, can rival even the most storied precious metal coins in value. And while the average person may overlook a penny, the story of the 1958 shows that the tiniest details, an extra punch of a mint mark, a doubled inscription, a misplaced die, can make all the difference. And these imperfections, captured forever in copper, have elevated a humble 1-cent piece into the realm of multi-million-dollar artifacts. And for collectors and treasure hunters alike, the existence of this coin fuels a continued passion for searching, examining, and discovering the hidden stories embedded in America's numismatic past. And although the odds of finding another such coin in similar condition are incredibly slim, the fact that any escaped into circulation at all means there's always a chance that more are out there, hiding in desk drawers, coin jars, or forgotten albums, waiting to be uncovered by a curious eye and a bit of luck. And this hope keeps the world of coin collecting alive with excitement, drawing in new generations of collectors who dream of stumbling upon their own million-dollar mistake. And it's that intersection of chance, history, error, and value that makes the 1958 wheat penny so powerful as both an object and a story. And with demand for high-grade, rare error coins only increasing as global investors seek tangible, historically significant assets, coins like the 1958 are poised to continue appreciating in value, setting new records and expanding the possibilities of what a simple penny can mean. And this story serves as a powerful reminder that every coin carries with it a potential story of value and discovery. And the most extraordinary examples, the ones with clear mistakes, exceptional condition, and impeccable provenance, become symbols of how history, imperfection, and rarity converge to create something truly unforgettable. And for those still searching through rolls of pennies, this coin offers a beacon of possibility and proof that life-changing discoveries are possible. And that's why the 1958 wheat penny remains not just a rare coin, but a legend, a phenomenon, and a testament to how one error can change everything.